Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Today we shall be starting with the drama section, which is the last unit prescribed to us. The drama that is prescribed to us is by Arthur Miller and his very famous drama, All My Sons. Arthur Miller, 1915 to 2005, is an American playwright and essayist in the 20th century American theater. Among his most popular plays are All My Sons, which is prescribed to us, written in 1947, Death of a Salesman, 1949, The Crucible, 1953, and A View from the Bridge, published in 1955. He wrote several screenplays and was most noted for his work on The Misfits, the film of 1961. The drama Death of a Salesman has been numbered on the shortlist of finest American plays in the 20th century. Miller was born on October 17, 1915, in Harlem, in the New York City borough of Manhattan. He was the second of the three children of Augusta and Isidore Miller. Miller was Polish Jewish descent. Isidore owned a women's clothing manufacturing business employing 400 people. He became a wealthy and respected man in the community. The family, including Miller's younger sister, Joan, lived on West 110th Street in Manhattan, owned a summer house in Far Rockaway, Queens, and employed a chauffeur as well. They have led a very prosperous life, but in the Wall Street crash of 1929, the family lost almost everything and moved to the Gravesend, Brooklyn. As a teenager, Miller actually delivered bread every morning before school to help the family. After graduating in 1932 from Abraham Lincoln High School, he worked at several menial jobs to pay for his college tuition at the University of Michigan. After graduation, circa 1936, he began to work as a psychiatric aide and also a copywriter before accepting faculty posts at New York University and University of New Hampshire. On May 1st, 1935, Miller joined the League of American Writers. The members were largely either Communist Party members or fellow travelers. At the University of Michigan, Miller first majored in journalism and worked for the student newspaper, the Michigan Daily, as well as the satirical Gargoyle Humor magazine. It was during this time that he wrote his first play, No Villain. Then he shifted himself to majors in English and subsequently won the Avery Hopwood Award for No Villain. The award brought him his first recognition and led him to begin to consider that he could have a career as a playwright. Miller enrolled in playwriting seminar taught by the very influential Professor Kenneth Rowe. Kenneth Rowe, who instructed him in his early forays into playwriting, has emphasized how a play is built in order to achieve its intended effect, or what Miller called the dynamics of play construction. And after this, he started writing plays, radio plays, and also started writing the film scripts based upon the guidance of Professor Kenneth Rowe. In 1940, Miller married Mary Grace Slattery. The couple had two children, Jane and Robert, as you could see in the picture. His early career was exempted from military service during World War II because of a high school football injury to his left kneecap. That same year, his first play was produced, The Man Who Had All the Luck. This is a very wonderful play that has had financial outthrough. It won the Theatres Guild's National Award. The play closed after four performances with disastrous reviews. In 1947, Miller's play All My Sons, the writing of which has commenced in 1941, was a success on Broadway, earning him his first Tony Award, Best Author Award, and a reputation as a playwright was established. In 1948, Miller built a small studio and he started writing a number of plays thereafter. including Death of a Salesman. And thereby, it has won the Pulitzer Prize, it has won the Tony Award for the Best Author, and also the New York Drama Circle's Critics Award. It was the first play to win all the three awards at a time. The play was performed 742 times in the city. In 1949, Miller exchanged letters with Eugene O'Neill, the contemporary dramatist, regarding Miller's production of All My Sons. O'Neill had sent Miller a congratulatory telegram as well for his grand success as a playwright. In June 1956, Miller left his first wife, Mary Slattery, whom he had married in 1940, and wed the film star Marilyn Monroe. They had met in 1951 and had a brief affair and remained in contact since. Monroe had just turned 30 when they married. She never had a real family of her own and was eager to join the family of her new husband. Marilyn Monroe began to reconsider her career in Hollywood, and she says that I hate Hollywood and I don't want to do any more films. I just wanted to become a normal woman and remain as the wife of Arthur Miller. She converted to Judaism to express her loyalty to the Miller family and her in laws. Soon after, she got converted also, and so Egypt actually banned all her movies. Away from Hollywood and culture of celebrity, Monroe's life became very normal. She began cooking, keeping house, and giving Miller more attention and affection that he were never used to, and that was the wonderful period of Arthur Miller's life. Later that year, Miller was sub-opened by HUAC, Hawk, and Monroe accompanied him. And in her personal notes, she wrote about her worries during this period. I'm so concerned about Arthur. I love him so much that I don't want him to be entangled in all these problems, she writes. Miller began working on writing the screenplay for The Misfits in 1960, directed by John Huston and starring Marilyn Monroe. But exactly at this time, we could see a sort of clash that exists between Arthur Miller and Marilyn Monroe. Soon after which, they actually take divorce and they get separated even before the film is released. After they got divorced in 1961, and the film featured in the same year later, 19 months after, on August 5th, 1962, Monroe died, um, maybe because of the excessive drug overdose. Houston, who had also directed her in her first major role in Asphalt Jungle in 1950, said that it is because of the overdose of sleeping pills and the negligence of the doctors that she died and has got nothing to do with the Hollywood stress. Miller married again a third time, and this time with the photographer Ingle Morath in February 1962. She had worked as a photographer documenting the production of the film The Misfits. The first of their two children, Rebecca, was born in 1962, and their son Daniel was born with the Down syndrome in November 1966. Against his wife's wishes, Miller actually has institutionalized their son, Daniel, because he was suffering from Down syndrome. Somehow he was caught in the house of HUAC, Hawk activities. In 1952, Elia Kazan appeared before the house of an Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC, and Kazan named 8 members, the members of the group theater, including Arthur Miller, to be involved in anti-American activities. And so he had to give his explanation, and this harassment actually has not left Arthur Miller even till his death. The Crucible is the novel that has come up at this moment, and this actually has expressed, you know, the harassment that he has felt because of Elia Kazan and the House of Un-American Activities Committee. In The Crucible, Miller likened the situation with the House of Un-American Activities Committee to the witch hunt in Salem in 1692. The play opened at the Beck Theatre on Broadway in January 22, 1953, and The Crucible is Miller's most frequently produced work throughout the world. It was also adapted into an opera by Robert Ward. However, Miller's experience with the HUAC acted him and affected him throughout his life even thereafter. In the later career in 1964, after The Fall was produced and is said to be deeply personal view of Miller's experiences during his marriage to Marilyn Monroe. The play reunited Miller with his former friend cousin. They collaborated on both the script and the direction of the film. That same year, Miller produced Incident at Vichy. In 1965, Miller was elected the first American president of PEN International, a position which he held for 4 years. A year later, Miller organized the 1966 PEN Congress in the New York City, and Miller wrote the penetrating family drama The Prize, produced in 1968. It was Miller's most successful play since Death of the Salesman. In 1968, Miller attended the Democratic National Convention as the delegate of Eugene McCarthy. And in 1969, Miller's works were banned in the Soviet Union, and similarly, one could see in China also getting banned. During the early and mid 1990s, Miller wrote three new plays: The Ride Down Mount Morgan in 1991, The Last Yankee in 1992, and The Broken Glass in 1994. In 1996, a film of The Crucibles was produced and it was a grand success. Mr. Peters' Connections was staged off Broadway in 1998, and The Death of the Salesman was revived on Broadway in 1999 to celebrate its 50th anniversary. The play once again was a large critical success, winning a Tony Award for the best revival of a play. In 1993, he was awarded the National Medal of Arts. Miller was honored with Penn Laura Pauls Theatre Award for the Master American Dramatist in 1998. In 2001, the National Endowment for the Humanities (NEH) selected Miller for the Jefferson Lecture and the U.S. federal government's highest honor for the achievement in the humanities. In 1999, Miller was awarded the Dorothy and Lillian Grish Prize, one of the richest prizes in the arts given annually to a man or a woman who has made an outstanding contribution to the beauty of the world and to mankind's enjoyment and understanding of life. In 2001, Miller received the National Book Foundation's Medal for Distinguished Contribution to American Letters. On May 1st, 2002, Miller was awarded Spain's Principe de Austria's Prize for Literature as the undisputed master of modern drama. In 2003, Miller won the Jerusalem Prize. In December 2004, 89-year-old Miller announced that he had been in love with a 34-year-old minimalist painter, Agnes Barley, and had been living with her at his Connecticut from since 2002, and that they intend to marry. Within hours of her father's death, Rebecca Miller ordered Barley to vacate, and she has seen that did not marry her father. Miller died on the evening of February 10th, 2005, at the age of 89 because of the bladder cancer and heart failure at his home in Roxbury, Connecticut. He had been in hospice care at his sister's apartment in New York since his release from hospital the previous month. He was surrounded by Barley, family, and friends. His body was interred at Roxby Center Cemetery in Roxbury. Miller's alma mater, the University of Michigan, opened the Arthur Miller Theater in March 2007 as per his express wish. It is the only theater in the world that bears Miller's name. Other notable arrangements for Miller's legacy are that his letters, notes, drafts, and other papers are housed at the Harry Ransom Humanities Research Center at the University of Texas at Austin. Arthur Miller is also a member of the American Theatre Hall of Fame. He was inducted in 1979. In 1993, he received the Four Freedoms Award for freedom of speech. In 2017, his daughter Rebecca Miller, a writer and filmmaker, completed a documentary about her father's life under the title Arthur Miller, the Writer. Minor Planet 3769 Arthur Miller is named after him as his legacy. Thank you very much for watching this video, which is a biographical introduction of Arthur Miller. His very famous drama, All My Sons, is prescribed to you, which we'll be starting in the next video. Bye for now.